Good evening, Dhamma friends. Welcome back to the Monday Sutta, Monday BMB Sutta discussion. And today is day 19. Yes, day 19. And I hope that you must have been reading some of the notes in the past couple of weeks. And we have almost come to I would say to a section, maybe an area of the Dhammacakkapavatthana Sutta, where we study about what happened after, after giving the main emphasis, giving the most important part of the Sutta. I would like to ask you to pay attention to the text here. So today our topic is Dhamma I. In Pali we call it Dhammacakku, and the cry. The cry that was made by the individual, I would say, devas from the ground up, actually, from the lowest devas up until the end of six heavens. But the cry, the sound that they made keeps going up. But today we are only studying up until the six heavens. That means the basic devas. And the sections that we will be studying would be 118 to 167 sections. 118 to 167. Venerable Kondanya becomes a Sotapanna. This is the place where we're going to be studying today. 118. And it goes beyond the deities and the Brahma section. But we are not going to discuss about the Brahmas, how did the Brahmas respond to the cry. 167. So from here, after from this point onwards, you can see Brahmas. All right, and then we have the text today, the note. And the note is about, trying to talk about what does it mean to become a Sotapanna. And we clearly understand that there are 4 prerequisites for becoming a Sotapanna person. There's a link, we can check it out later. And why did only one monk attain Sotapannahood at the end of the first Dhamma, as we know, Dhammacakkapavatthana Sutta? And then, what is the link between becoming a Sotapanna and the rise of the Dhammacakku? Because it clearly says Dhammacakku rose to Anya Kondanya. And then why does attaining Sotapanna have a direct link to understanding the Paticca Samuppada? Now when someone attains Nibbana, the Sotapatti, that person or other people, when they are being when the Sotapannas are being described by others, they clearly say this person understood Paticca Samuppada at the same time in becoming a Sotapanna. Why Paticca Samuppada is connected to becoming a Sotapanna? And then, what exactly is Dhammacakka? Now, Dhammacakka, but here Dhammacakka. The Dhammacakka is being discussed oftentimes. And I actually left a note here, refer to the day 18 notes, last week's notes for that. And the textual transmission error. We will be studying this later. And then what exactly is a cry here, Satta, and how did the 6 heavens respond to the cry? All right. So before we jump into this part, let's try understanding about this. Venerable Kondanya becomes a Sotapanna. Idamavoja Bhagava, the Buddha said, Attamana Panchavakya Bhikkhu Bhagavatu Bhasita Abhinandan. Now, whose words are these? Is it the Buddha's words or the senior monks' observations? So this part is the senior monks' observation, and they report what happened. Right? They report. Now this is how, take a look again. Idamovacha Bhagava. The Blessed One said this. This means a reported speech. And Attamana Panchavagya Bhikkhu Bhagavatu Bhastang Abhinanda. Now here you can see Attamana means rejoice. Huh? Rejoice. So the delighted bhikkhus, then, Attamana, delighted bhikkhus, they were uplifted by the speech, by the explanation which the Buddha said to them. Imasming cha pana Veyakaranasming banyaman. Veyakaranasming. Veyakaranasming means it is, what do you understand by discourse? But what does Veyyakarana mean? Anybody has any exposure to this Pali word? Veyyakarana. The Pali word Veyyakarana. Now, I think all of you know the word Tipitaka, right? Tipitaka. What does Tipitaka mean? Tipitaka? You can talk to me, I can hear. What does Tipitaka mean? Tipitaka means Pitaka. The literal meaning of Pitaka means basket. Huh? Is it? Pitaka is basket. Now, when we are more civilized, we tend to say collection. Collection of the suttas is one basket. Collection of the Vinaya is one basket. Collection of Abhidhamma is one basket. Pitaka. Tipitaka. Right? Is this the way how the Buddha understood his Dhamma and Vinaya? Did the Buddha say, I have my Sutta Pitaka, you have to read from Sutta Pitaka, I have my Abhidhamma Pitaka? Did he call himself like that? No. How did he call instead? He said, my Dhamma Vinaya. Dhamma and Vinaya. Even during his passing away time, many unenlightened monks, they were very, they were sad, at the same time they were frustrated. And then they asked from the Buddha, now you are passing away, who will be our teacher after you passed away? Then the Buddha said, Dhamma Vinaya will be your teacher. I'm not making a successor. If the Buddha is so sure about other monks, he would have appointed a monk to take over. But did he do that? He didn't do it. He did not do it. It is not because that he did not have trust about the senior monk. It is because he knew whatever the role he played cannot be replaced by anybody. Right? So, going back to that Pali word, Veyyakarana. Now, he used the classification called Dhamma Vinaya. Now, we have certain classifications in terms of understanding Buddha's teachings. What is the most popular way of classifying Buddha's teachings? Tipitaka. Tipitaka. 3 baskets. This is what you know. But Buddha did not use that word for his Dhamma Vinaya. He said Dhamma Vinaya. But he also used another Pali word, another classification in terms of his teaching. What is it? Navanga Sattu Sasana. He divided his teachings into 9 sections. Now let me show you that. Maybe I have to search that for you. Right? We are going to Navanga Sattu Sasana. Here we are. You can see here 9 sections. First one is Suttas. Sutta means prose sections, not the verse. Then Geya. Geya means both prose and verse. Number 3, Veyyakarana. This is what See, Vaiyakarana. This is the classification we see here. I show you the text. Here, Vaiyakarana's. Imas Ming Chapana, Vaiyakarana's. Now, Vaiyakarana's means a type of teaching, but what kind of teaching is that? It is one of the ways of classifying Buddha's teachings. Let's see again here. Vaiyakarana. Explanations in prose explaining the doctrine in detail. That means here, Vaiyakarana means, in the text, we go back here, Imas Mincha Panavaya, that means the whole Dhammacakkapavatthana Sutta, so far, up to this point, was given in prose, with explanations. So we call that kind of a Dhamma talk, that kind of a teaching is not a Sutta, not a Gatha, but Vaiyakarana. Now you call this as a Sutta, right? Dhammacakkapavatthana Sutta. But if you look at from the Dhamma itself, the Buddha says this is a Vaiyakarana type of teaching. It's not a Sutta. But we normally call all these are Suttas. But it is, if you are so much concerned about the nature of the teaching, it is a Vaiyakarana. Let's talk about the rest. There are another 9, so another 6. The fourth one is Gatha, verses. Fifth, Udan, solemn utterances. This means when the Prince Siddhartha was born, he talked. When the Prince ascetic Siddhartha became the Buddha, he made some statements. When the Shakyamuni Buddha was going to pass away, he said some couple of things. So they are called Udans. Then Iti Vuttaka, short discourses beginning with the words, thus spake or spoke the Buddha. Another type of teaching. Then the seventh one, Jataka, stories regarding the former births of the Buddha, you know that. The eighth one, Abhutadam, narrations of miracles, I would say wonders, miracles and wonders. The last one is called Vedal, discourses consisting of teachings in form of question and answer, Q&A type of Dhamma. We call it Vedal. Whenever you see a Dhamma talk where there are a lot of Q&A, we call it Vedal. Remember Chula Vedal, Maha Vedal. They are Vedal type of teaching. You call it a Sutta, but they are Vedals because it has the form of Q&A. Somebody asks a question, Buddha or another Arahant or whoever responds to that person. It's a Vedal. That means Dhammacakkapavatthana Sutta is a Vaiyakarana type of teaching. What is it? Here, let's go back again to the Sutta. Vaiyakarana. Now, Imasmin Chapana Vaiyakarana Banyama. And while this discourse, we call it Vaiyakarana, is being spoken, Ayasmato. That means venerable. Actually, Ayasmato means, what does Ayasmato mean? Now, this is a way how the senior monks talk to the junior monks. Ayasmato. That means someone who has longevity. Someone who has longevity. Ayu. Ayu means longevity. I think we all like someone blesses us. May you live long, right? So the senior monks talk to the young ones, junior monks, Ayasmato. But they cannot call Ayasmato to the senior monk in turn, right? Ayasmato goes that. They normally call Bhante. Ayasmato normally from senior monk to the junior. Huh? Now, Ayasmato Kondanyasa Virajang Vitamalang Dhammacakkapavatthana. Now, something happened to Ayasmato Kondanya, Venerable Kondanya. What happened to Kondanya? What do you think? Virajang Vitamalang, dust free, stainless, Dhammacakkapavatthana. Dust free means, Raja means no defilements. Vitamalang means also another synonym towards the defilements. And dust free, stainless, Dhammacakku arose. In what perspective? Yang kenti samudaya dhamma, sabbangta nirodha dhamma. Whatever is subject to origin, all subject to the cessation, ending. That means Dhammacakka will arise in someone when that person is becoming a sotapanna. The immediate understanding of that person's knowledge about Dhamma is paticca samuppada. Paticca samuppada. What does paticca mean? Paticca means there is a cause to all effects, and all effects cause another cause. Effect, cause and effect, and then effect and cause. Right? This is what we understand. So when someone attains Sotapatti, that person definitely has an understanding about the Paticca to a larger, broader extent than a normal person. Now, my question is, what is Dhammacakka? Cakku means I. Dhamma means Dhamma. Now, this is what Venerable Kondanya experience. Venerable Kondanya experience Dhammacakku now. Right? What does Dhammacakku mean? I think the other day I already explained to you. We have Cakku, but do we have Dhammacakku also? Now, what is Cakku? Cakku is eyes. Then Dhammacakku, this one. You can see Dhammacakku. Here, Dhammacakku. Dhammacakku means Dhamma eye, right? Dhamma eye. What is Dhamma eye? Can somebody tell me? Is it another eye? The third or fourth eye? What is that eye? It is a Dhamma development of our eyes. That means every time we see something, we hear something, we smell something, we taste something, we touch something, and we think about something, we always go by the Dhammacakka. Dhammacakka means we know how all these objects are going to approach our senses, and that all these things regarding the five senses and the objects are subject to the paticca samuppada. This is Dhammacakka. Now, when you see people, when you hear a sound, when you smell something, when you taste some food, whatever, do you feel that there is a cause and there's an effect, and that effect causes another cause? What is a good way to think about it? Like a very simple way. Now think about a moment where we create akusala. Right? Maybe we are going to be angry about somebody, about something. If we know paticca samuppada, can we become angry? I mean, paticca samuppada is the highest teaching in terms of even the Four Noble Truths. But if we really understand paticca samuppada in our own way, can we become angry? Can we even think about doing an akusala? We cannot. Why we cannot? Because we know that akusala creates a vipaka. That particular akusala creates vipaka. And that vipaka creates my causes. Okay? Now in your life, in our life, if you look back, if you look up to the society and other people, you see your blessings. You see your own blessings. And also your unhappiness. Right? So they all are your mostly causes, your past causes, mostly. Not everything maybe, but mostly. So now you are going through the vipakas. They are causes. Now, these are the effects. Then, now you are going through the effects. Then, what will happen to you after that? Then you are creating, let's say now you are going through a very bad time in your life. So you may be very mad about it, unless you do the right thing for that particular scenario. Let's say you are so mad, you are so upset, you are so sad, you are so frustrated. Your compassion will go away, your wisdom will go away. Then, how will you respond to that state of mind? Maybe with lots of irritation, lots of negative response. Then what you are doing? You already been going through a lot of vipakas, maybe for some bad karmas in the past. And then on top of that, you are creating another causes for you to go through in the future. So that means Patissamuppada is not just a complicated teaching to some people. It is a teaching that we have to bring to our normal life. Karma, everything is attached to Patissamuppada. Now, when someone becomes a Sotapanna, the first thing that will happen to that person is that person will get the Dhammacakka. Dhammacakka means, of course, a better understanding about the, what you call, Patissamuppada. Thereby, that person is going to have Sammaditthi. Because, when someone attains Sotapanna, become a Sotapanna, that person is a part of the stream winner, right? That is the starting point of the spiritual journey. Do you ever check in with you? Am I already there or not? Right? You will be there if you understand these things actually. How do I make my Sammaditthi? How do I acquire Dhammacakka? Dhammacakka is important. Dhammacakka means that I can see things beyond my naked eye. Now I see everything from my naked eye. I like or I dislike. Right? Either I glamorize or I get stuck with those things, people and objects. But if you have the Dhammacakka, you are built in with the Dhamma. Whatever you see, whatever you hear, whatever you smell, whatever you taste, whatever you touch, whatever you think, you are naturally disciplined. You don't have to control yourself. In Buddhism, we are not controlling us. We are disciplined. You cannot control your mind unless you manage your mind. You bring your mind to the right thing. Because you may control the mind if you want, but at a certain point, everything will go haywire. Because you will be good until you control yourself. Once you, let it off, then what happens? You will be going through a hard time. Never ever control yourself, especially for the mind in terms of Dhamma. Try to discipline yourself. Let the mind understand. Let the thoughts embrace, understand what the thoughts are supposed to do. Right? So, anyways, now we are talking a little bit more about Sotapatti. Now, Venerable Konnanya became a Sotapatti, right? But why it was only Anya Konnanya? Why was only him? What about the others? Why is it? Anybody has any suggestion? Any thought? There were Bhante, Maha, Master. Why? In order to understand this phenomenon, let's go check it out our notes. This is important. Right? Why did Anya Konnanya only attain Sotapanna? His name is Konnanya. Anya means a kind of an appellation given to him, at the end of Dhammacakkapavatthana. Konnanya, was given the surname Konnanya by his family. He was well versed in the three Vedas and excelled at physiognomy. What does physiognomy mean? Physiognomy Physiognomy means that when you master physiognomy, you can tell other people's future by looking at their body. It happened, right? It happened to the Prince Siddhartha also. Let's see. Then, at the time of his birth, the Buddha was one of the 8 Brahmins. Sorry, Anya Konnan was one of the 8 Brahmins, actually. There's a typo over here. So there were 8 Brahmins who came to see the Prince Siddhartha. Rama, Daja, Lakkana, Manthi, Bhoja, Suyama, Sudatta, along with Konnan. So all of them told, like 7 of them told the King Suddhodana that this child will become either a Chakravarti, universal monarch. That is one of the what we call imaginary kind of kingship in the suttas. And the second is, if he leaves the house, he will become the Buddha. But only one Brahmin said to the King Suddhodana, he would be definitely precisely the Samma Sambuddha. Who was that? This Konda, who was the Sotapanna here. Let's learn a bit of him. Kondanya then lived in anticipation of the Bodhisattva's renunciation. Now he knew it. He knew that he would become the Buddha, so he was waiting until he becomes the Buddha, maybe to follow what he's saying. Then, following this, Kondanya left the house with 4 others. Who are they? Vappa, Baddiya, Mahanamasaji, who became known as Panchavaggiya monks. When the Buddha visited them at Isipatana after the enlightenment and delivered the Dhammacakkapavatthana Sutta, Kondanya and 18 crores of Brahmas attained the fruit of the first path. Interesting. That means, although the other 4 did not attain Sotapanna, there were millions, billions of Brahmas attained Sotapanna, along with Kondanya. But the rest of the 4 could not. Then, having attained Dhamma awareness before any other human being, I would say Dhammacakku, the Buddha bestowed upon him the reverential appellation Anyasi Vatabhu Pondan. Twice. He said twice. Thus he gained the appellation of Anyata Pondan. That means the Buddha said Anyasi means that Pondanya understood the Dhamma. Dhammacakku appeared in his life. The Buddha said 2 times. Then when the Buddha said Anyasi, then he got another term to his name, not just Kondanya, Anya Kondanya. Because others could not understand the Dhamma to that point. Others could not become Sotapanna. So he was started, calling to be Anya Kondanya. Then he attained Arahant 5 days later when the Anatta Lakkana Sutta was preached. He was the first to be ordained using the formula of Ehi Bhikkhu and the first to be elevated to the higher ordination. Now, interesting question. Why these 5 ascetics as a whole could not attain Arahanthood? Why they did not become Arahants? Now, initially we know only Anya Kondanya became a Sotapanna. But overall, none of them could attain Nibbana by listening to this Dhamma talk, Dhammacakkapavatthana Sutta. Only after a couple of days, the Buddha then gave another sutta, another Dhamma talk. It's about Anatta Lakkana Sutta. It's about what you call the self and the not self. At the end of that sutta only, they were able to attain arahants. What could be the reason? Why it was as such? The reason was that Panchavaggiya bhikkhus, 5 ascetics, they have been practicing Atta Kilamatanu Yoga for many years. Now I'm going to ask you, what is Atta Kilamatanu Yoga? In short, I think I repeatedly explained to you many times. What does Atta Kilamatana Yoga mean? The same sutta. This means, what do you call it? Extreme practice of Sila. Extreme practice of Sila. So the 5 ascetics only knew how to practice Sila, extreme. They didn't know anything else. So can they understand Samadhi? Sila Samadhi Panya? If 5 ascetics only practice Sila for many years, maybe the Buddha only did for 6 years. But how about them? Many, many more years. Can someone who only practice morality, Sila for many years come to Samadhi right away? Concentration? No. That is why even though the Buddha gave this Dhamma talk, most of, definitely 5 of them could not make it to the Nibbana. That means practicing Sila only is not enough. Right? Now there are some devotees who might say, Bhante, I keep my precepts, so I'm good, my practice is good. Not enough, Samadhi. Sila Samadhi. Why not Samadhi? That is what happened to 5 ascetics. 5 ascetics, they didn't know what is Samadhi. So even though they listened to this very precious, very important Dhamma talk, they were just listening to it from a Sila point of view. That is why only one person barely made it to become a Sota. The rest of the 4, nothing. But after a couple of days, they started reflecting on what is this. Right? And you know what? After Buddha gave this Dhammacakkapavatthana Sutta, what happened to them? Did they go for Pindapata every day, everybody? No. It is said that 2 go for Pindapata, 3 stay and listen to the Buddha. Sometimes 3 ascetics go to Pindapata, 2 stay with the Buddha. Why is it? It is said that if 5 go for Pindapata, bring lots of food, then they might practice Kamasukalikanti. Lots of food. The Buddha said, if you have food, then it is okay, but you don't need lots of food. Earlier, before Buddha came to Benares, Isipatanarama, they all went for Pindapata. 5 of them went for Pindapata. They bring lots of food. Happens, huh? If you see a monk in a Pindapata, or not for a specific occasion, like you have Vesak or Katina. Normally, when the monks go for Pindapata, they cannot bring everything in that bowl, They have to bring another, probably a lay person together. Right? Lots of food. So then maybe the Buddha said, maybe they understood by themselves, from today, not all of us go for Pindapata. 3 go, 2 stay with the Buddha. Maybe we listen to Dhamma. 2 go, 3 stay. Maybe 1 goes for the rest of the 4 stay with the Buddha. Because we don't need lots of food. Because if you eat lots of food, you become, what do you call it? Intoxicated. Right? You cannot practice Dhamma. Anyways, now, the reason why 5 ascetics could not attain Nibbana was they only knew Sila, no Samadhi. Then it took time for them to understand, developing the mind is another area that we have to practice. Then they brought it to that level. Sila Samadhi. Right? Then, later, now this is about Anya Konnanya. Let's study a bit about him, because this sutta makes an emphasis about him. Later, in front of a huge crowd, monks at Jetavanaram, the Buddha declared Anya Konnanya to be the best among those who first understood the Dhamma. He was also regarded to be the foremost among long-standing disciples, the senior most Sangha. Right? I think you can read the rest. They are not very much important, but this is important. Anya Konnanya attained Sotapanna first, since he had completed all prerequisites in his previous life. Now, I will discuss with you what are those prerequisites over here later, after this. Early discourses allow us to judge, and it appears that attaining Sotapanna does not necessitate, say, the earlier development of absorption attainment, which appears to be required for progress to the two higher degrees of waking, non-return, anagami, arahant. What does it mean? That is another interesting point here. That means there were many people who became Sotapanna without, to some of these individuals. But samadhi is very much important if that person wants to make the move to anagami and arahant. I think I repeatedly told you there were lay people who were married, but they were Sotapannas, right? Visakha, there were many others. So we don't think that they must have done lots of mental developments, lots of stuff, but they initially had what we call an expanded understanding about the Dhamma, but they have not deepened the mental development at that point. They must do so if they want to really attain anagami and arahant. So that means, even though I said earlier that now this is very fitting, right? Now, Anya Kondanya, Vappa, Bhaddiya, Mahanama, Asaji did not attain Nibbana, but Anya Kondanya became a Sotapanna. But all of them could not attain Nibbana because they have not practiced any Samadhi before. But to become a Sotapanna, Anya Kondanya had no problem. Because even though he did not practice Samadhi before, he could attain a Sotapanna. Now, what we understand here is that in order to become a Sotapanna, you need some prerequisites, but don't take it for granted, okay? I mean, keep your practice going. But here, what we understand is that the jhanas, or I would say the mental development, deepening the mental development was not very much necessary for someone to attain Sotapanna. But for anagami, arahanthood, it is a must. And then, given that Anya Kondanya and his friends are introduced as adherents of asceticism, this is Arthakalamthana Yoga, it is reasonable to assume that they will require some time to train in Samadhi, concentration, which would fit best after Sotapatti, but before complete awakening, arahanthood. Now you understand the point here. All right, let's go back to our text. Now, this is what we understand by Dhammacakkapavatthana. Now, what will happen in the Sutta sections? Now, when Anya Kondanya became a Sotapanna, then this phenomenon, this new thing, which the other people recognize as what you call turning the Dhamma wheel in motion, right? This thing was exposed to other worlds. Now, other worlds means Deva, Brahma worlds. Now, what happened? Let's see. Pavattite chapana bhagavata Dhammacakkapavatthana. Now, when the wheel of the Dhamma had been set in motion by the Buddha, Dhammacakkapavatthana. Now, may I ask you, what is Dhammacakkapavatthana? What is Dhammacakkapavatthana here? What is Dhammacakkapavatthana? What is Dhammacakkapavatthana? Dhammacakkapavatthana means that the Buddha explained the Four Noble Truths along with the Tiparivatta and Dvadasakara. Tiparivatta means 3 aspects and Dvadasakara means 12 perspectives. Now, this whole framework is a chakra, Dhammacakkapavatthana, right? Now, later on, people thought Dhammacakkapavatthana is a wheel and there are spokes. Right? This happens since the time of the Ashoka, actually, sometimes. But here, Dhammacakkapavatthana clearly means this whole framework of the Four Noble Truths of the Buddha, along with the Tiparivatta and Vadasankara. You can check out the last week notes for that. Right? That is what we call by the Dhammacakka. Now here it says, now the Buddha turned the wheel of Dhamma. He turned the Dhammacakku in motion. Now what will happen? This turning the wheel of Dhammacakka in motion was noticed by others, especially non-humans. Who are they? Bumma Deva Saddha Manusavesu. Earth-dwelling Deva Saddang Anusavi. Saddha means a cry. What do you think? What may have gone with the Deva over here? Who are the Bumma Deva? Bumma Deva means Deva who are living with us. Do we have Devas here in the human world? Do we have? We have. We call them Bumma Deva. Give me another example about that, about their existence with us. Give me an example of Bumma Deva living with us in this human world. Yani the Bhutani Samagatani Bummani Vaya. Where is it? Ratana Sutta. Ratana Sutta clearly says, Yani the Bhutani Samagatani Bummani Vaya. Niva Anta. Bumma Antalikke. Bumma means ground. Ground. Here, earth. That means earth means us. We are living there on earth. And then Antalikke means sky Deva. Now here what Bumma Deva refers to is the ground Deva. Who are the ground Deva? Devas living in the trees, Devas living in your household, right? They all are Bumma Deva. Compared to the sky Deva and the Brahma, they are very inferior Deva. They are not very, they are powerful than humans, but they are inferior than the sky Deva. Now, immediately when the Buddha said that Konnanya became a Sotapanna, this news was alerted to the Devas. Who are they? Bumma Devas could understand this phenomenon. So what happened after that is that they made a cry. They made, oh, this happened, right? In excitement. You know, like when something happened that we do not normally believe in this world, you make some excitement emotions, right? Oh, this happened, right? How come he did that? How did it happen? Like this, what you call surprising cry was made by the Bumma Deva at that point. Now, the interesting point is that only the particular sound, particular cry of Devas could be alerted by the immediate next Devas on. Now, what is happening in the human world was only alerted by the next level of the beings. Who are we calling them? We're calling them as Bumma Deva. Now, when the Bumma Deva made a cry, what happened? It was heard by their peers. I would say their superiors. Who are they? Now, Bumma Deva. Then what happened? Etam Bhagavata Varanasiyam at Benares, in the deer park at Isipatana, this unsurpassed wheel of the Dhammacakka has been set in motion by the Buddha. Appativattiyam Samanenava Brahma, which cannot be stopped by any monk, nun, Brahmin, Deva, Mara, Brahma, or anyone in the world. Then what happened? Now, Bumma Deva noticed this phenomenon and they made a cry. And this cry was heard by their superiors. Who are they? Chatum Maharajika Deva. Chatum Maharajika Deva could hear that cry. Interesting, huh? That means when the Buddha turned the wheel of the Dhammacakka in motion, it was noticed by the Bumma Deva first. Then Bumma Deva, they were excited and they made a cry. What happened? What happened here? And that sound was heard by their superior, Chatum Maharajika Deva. Who are the Chatum Maharajika Deva? We call them four guardian Deva. Four guardian Deva. They are the closest Devas in the sky, according to Buddhism. Who are they? Virudaka, Dataratta, Virupakka, and what do you call? First one. Let me write for you. The first one is called Virudaka. The second one is called Dataratta. Third one is called Virupakka. The fourth one is called Vesavan. Or we have another name for him, Kwee. So normally it is said that Virudaka is for the south direction of this earth. Then Dataratta is for the eastern direction of the world. And Virupakka is for the western part of the world. And Kwee is for the northern part of the world. So now the sound was heard by these four devas and their followers. And who are their followers? We call them Virudaka has what you call they had what you call Kumbhandas. Datarattas had Gandhabas. Virupakka had Nagas. Vesavana had Yakas. So Virudaka had his followers called Kumbhandas, and Dataratta had Gandhabas, Virupakka had Nagas, Vesavana had Yakas. So all these individuals, devas, could hear the sound which was made by the ground deva. Devas who are in the trees, who are in our houses, who are whatever the deva that you call in your household and in your vicinity. Now, what's happened? This sound was gone up to the level of what you call you can see here Tavatinsa Deva. Now, what are the six heavens that we know in Buddhism? Chatu Maharajika, Tavatinsa, Yama, Kusita, Nimmanarati, Paranimita, Vasavati. You can see these names in the Sutta. Let me show you. You can see here the first Deva world is called Chatu Maharajika. It's here. Then you can see Tavatinsa is the second. And you can see the third one is Yam. And you can see the fourth one is going to be Tusita. And the fifth one is going to be Nimmanarati. Fifth one. Then the last one is called Paranimita Vasavati. It's called the sixth one. These are the what you call primary Deva worlds. Now, the sound was going to all these Deva worlds. What happened? From the ground Devas, sound went up to Chatu Maharajika Devas. Those Devas, four Devas, right? We call Virudaka, Dataratta, Viruda, Virupakka, and Visavana. Then the sound then went up to Chatu, what do you call? Chatu Maharajika, and then it went up to the Tavatinsa. And then it went up to Yam. Then it went up to Tusita. Then it went up to Nimmanarati. After that, it went up to what do you call? Paranimita Vasavati. Right? Now the nature of the sound, the cry that was made by each Deva was that the inferior Deva, I would say the inferior Deva made the sound, and then that sound was picked up by the superior Deva. Right? That was how the sound went. That means the Deva worlds that are near, I would say that are near to each other, they can hear each other. Let's say Boma Deva's sound can be well understood by Chatu Maharajika Deva's. Chatu Maharajika Deva's sound can be well understood by Tavatinsa Devas. Tavatinsa Devas sound can well be understood by Yamadevas. Yamadevas sound can well be understood by Susita Devas. Susita Devas sound can well be understood by Nimmanrati Devas. And Nimmanrati Deva's sound can well be understood by Parinimita Vasavati, the highest Deva world. Right? So the sound means that exclamation, that excitement cry. The Buddha did that. The Buddha turned the Dhammacakka in motion. This story went up to all these heavens. Right? And then, interestingly, now we have to learn a little bit of these Deva worlds. You can see here, you learn about Chatu Maharaj. You can see Virudaka, Dataratta, Virupakka, Vesavana. Viruda represents the south side of the world. Dataratta represents the eastern side of the world. Virupakka represents the western side of the world. And Vesavana represents the northern side of the world. Virudaka's followers are called Kumbandas. Dataratta's followers are called Gandhabas. Virupakka's followers are called Nagas. Vesavana's followers are called Yakkas. Now, some translations translate that all these devas agreed and then they said sadhu. What do you think? It cannot be. Why? If you look at the Kuvera, Vesavana, he is the god for the deva for the head deva for the yakka. Who are the yakkas? The demons called. Now, if you look at the Atanatiya Sutta, you will understand some yakkas, a great number of yakkas, did not agree to the Buddhist teachings. How many of you have read Atanatiya Sutta? You know that each temple, maybe some temples, they have an all-night paritta chanting, right? Have you participated for these chantings, all-night paritta chantings? If you had participated in the all-night paritta chanting, you see that around probably from 3 to maybe from 4, maybe 3 a.m., maybe 4 a.m. up until 5:30, around 6, monks chant this sutta called Atanatiya Sutta, the end sutta of the chanting book. Now, in this sutta, Buddha addresses the demons. And he said to the demons, from today, do not kill, do not steal, do not misbehave, do not lie, do not cloud your mind by drinking, having things, food and food. Then some yakka said, no, we continue to kill people. We continue to steal. We continue to misbehave. We continue to lie. We continue to take whatever the things that will make us cloud. We don't accept you. We're going to continue the way that we continued in the past. They did not. They outrightly rejected the Buddha. Then how come we say some of the demons under the Vesavana here? It's the Vesavana. The Kuveras, some of the Kuveras followers did not agree to the Buddha. That means we cannot say all the devas in these deva worlds agreed. What may have gone is that they were like excited about this thing. Oh, some Buddha did this. Who is that? That excitement is what we understand by they made a cry. Each deva world was surprised at the same time. They made an excitement. All right, any questions so far before we proceed? All right, is there a common language which the Buddha may have used in communicating with other people, especially with other realms? We don't have a specific, we don't have a specific proof to say that that there exists a common language. But what we understand is that whatever the things that he spoke was well recognized, well understood by those people. Maybe the Magadhi, the Pali, was well understood by these devas, because we only understand these devas in the Pali context, right? Probably the Buddha's power of compassion, power of wisdom was something that these beings could feel and understand. And then, other than that, we cannot say that there is one language, but definitely the Buddha's words were well recognized, well received by all these demons and other devas. Because we don't see that these devas in other contexts. This is what we can understand. Now, if you can remember the Mahinda, Arhan Mahinda, you know who he is? Arhan Mahinda was the son of the King Ashoka. So when King Ashoka came to Sri Lanka, 236, I would say Buddhist era, after around 236, 240 years after the Buddha's passing away, he talked to the king here in the, what you call in Pali. It is said that the Sinhalese Prakrit at that time was similar to the Pali Prakrit. So they could understand, because they come from the same roots. Other than that, I believe that how the other realms could understand the Buddha's teachings could be because of his great compassion and wisdom. They could feel what he's talking. Sometimes people talk, but we don't feel it, right? People keep talking, but we don't feel it, what this person is talking about. The Buddha was very precisely understanding about whatever the people over there, and out of his compassion and wisdom he presented, and that could have definitely entered into their understanding levels. This is what we can see. All right. Now let's study about other, what we call realms. Now we studied about Chatu Maharaja. Then let's come to Tavatinsa. What do you think about Tavatinsa? Who is in the Tavatinsa? Tavatinsa is the place where the Sakkha, the great Deva, is supposed to live with his wife called Indrani or Sachi. Indra or Indrani. Indra and Indrani. Or Sakkha and Sachi. And then when we move on to the next realm, we see Yama. You can see Yama over here. There is another Deva over here. Yeah, I'm going to write it here. The head Deva of this realm is Suyam, and his wife is Sirima. Suyama and Sirima. Right? Sirima was a courtesan at the time of the Buddha. She passed away. She lived in Rajagaha. She became a Deva in the, what is called Yama world, Deva world. And then the next Deva world is Tusita. Very interesting. Why? Why is Tusita very important? Tusita is the heaven or the Deva world or heaven where all the Bodhisattvas are finally reborn before they become the Buddha. Interestingly, Bodhisattva's mother passes away once the Bodhisattva is reborn, right? Then where she is reborn? Where she is supposed to be reborn? She goes to the Tusita. Bodhisattva comes from Tusita heaven and she passes away. She is going to go to Tusita. Interesting. Son comes from Tusita and reborn here, and mother passes away. Mother is going to be reborn in Tusita as well. So this Tusita Deva world is such a very spiritual Deva world, right? And it is said that this Deva world has a head Deva called Sunim Mita. No, San Tusita. San Tusita. Right? This is Tusita. And then the sound was going to the next Deva world. See it as Nimmana Rati. Nimmana Rati Deva world has also a Deva we call him as Sunimita. Sunimita. And he said that his wife was Vishaka. Interesting, huh? How come this woman was reborn over there? Sotapanna. Vishaka was a Sotapanna, but she was reborn in the Nimmana Rati. That means even the Sotapannas, till they finish their Dhamma journey, they can be reborn in heaven. But the thing is that they will never be reborn in apayas, lower worlds. So, when Vishaka passes away, where was she reborn? In a Deva world called Nimmana Rati. Okay, see, the fifth Deva world, Sunimita and Vishaka. Sunimita is, he said that it is the head god, and Vishaka was the head goddess, the female Deva. And the sixth one is called Paranimita Vasavatti. Paranimita Vasavatti is the highest Deva world. We call that there is somebody called Samara, actually, called Vasavatti. Vasavatti. Vasavatti Mara lives there. All right. So now you don't need to be very much concerned about their names. I mean, I just let you know who they are. But now what you need to know is that the sound went from one Deva world era, right? So how it went, when one Deva world made a cry, the next Deva world could hear. And when that Deva world, Deva made the cry, the immediate Deva world could hear. So now the cry goes higher and higher, right? All right. So then what happens? Over here you can see Paranimita Vasavatti and Devanam Sabdan Sutta Brahma Kayika. Now here we stop. We're gonna do the rest next Monday, 167 over here. Now what happened? When that cry was heard by the Brahma worlds, the first Brahma world, the same thing happened to them. So there are 16 Brahma worlds initially, one Brahma world after one Brahma world. Now let's go to our notes. Okay. Because we discussed about Sotapattis become a Sotapanna, let's talk about the prerequisites. What does it mean to become a Sotapanna? 4 prerequisites for becoming a Sotapanna. How many of you would like to become a Sotapanna? Yes, we are all supposed to become Sotapannas. That is what we are learning. We are practicing all these things, right? We know that becoming an Arahant could be a tough goal, maybe a tough goal, but it should be possible. But becoming a Sotapanna is the bare minimum. Now let's see what are the prerequisites that we need to develop if we want to become a Sotapanna. Let's click on the link over here. This is one of my talks that I gave about that, but there's a Sutta over here, Sutta abstract. Let's see. Maybe we should go to the Pali text. All right, Dutiya Sariputta Sutta, it says that there are 4 things that we need to practice to become Sotapanna. The first thing is Saddhamma Savana. What does it mean? The first thing that we have to practice if we want to become a Sotapanna is Saddhamma Savana. Saddhamma Savana means to listen to the Dhamma. Why is it? Listening to the Dhamma will clarify what we already know, and it will help us know more Dhamma. It is important, right? If you listen to Dhamma speakers, many Dhamma speakers, you will learn a lot of things. We are not going to blame anybody. We are learning from all the Sangha. That is what you should do. If you think that this makes sense, then you may prioritize. But you should be able to listen to Dhamma. If somebody says, I am not going to listen to Dhamma talks, I only do this, that is going to be a wrong practice. You will never be able to become a Sota. Keep your Dhamma talk listening practice going. Wherever you go, whoever the monk you are going to listen, keep that going. That is important. Maybe in Mandarin, maybe in English, maybe in whatever the language, if you know. First thing. Second, Yoniso Manasikaro. That is interesting. Yoniso Manasikaro. What is Yoniso Manasikara? Wise attention. Yoniso Manasikara means wise attention. Now, you may go for a meditation retreat. You may meditate. But if you don't have that right attention, wise attention, can you meditate? You may sit down. You may sit down and close your eyes. But now your attention is not wise. It is a normal attention. Your mind goes here, 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 like a monkey mind. That means you may be okay with your sitting. You may be ready for the meditation, but still your attention is not in the right place. Right? So what's going to happen? Your meditation will not go well. Not even meditation. If you go for a temple, you want to offer dana, right? Now you have some sangha, you want to offer dana. You buy food from the grocery shop, right? Now you go to the temple. But during the dana, your mind is not wise enough. You are distracted during the dana. Why do I say so? You are not able to think about why I am giving this dana. What are the thoughts that I should develop during the dana? You are disturbed here. So you don't have wise attention. Definitely you should practice alobha dosa moha. I am not greedy for the money I am spending for the dana. I have no hatred to anybody over here or other places. I am doing a good karma, so there are good results after that. These are the thoughts that you should be having while offering dana, right? Not other thoughts. But how do you bring those thoughts to you? Only if you have yoniso manasikara, wise attention. If you don't have it, if you don't develop it, if you don't practice it, you will never become so. First one, listening to Dhamma talks, Dhamma or Dhamma talks. Then second is wise attention. Now let's see the third one. Third one is, okay, I think we missed the first one. First one is Sappurisa Sevana. Second is Saddhamma Savana. Sappurisa Sevana. First one. The first thing is Sappurisa Sevana. Means Kalyana Mittas. We must have Kalyana Mittas in our Dhamma practice. Second is what you call listening to Dhamma. Third is wise attention. Let's talk about the Sappurisa Sevana, which means Kalyana Mittas. Have you seen people who don't like other people? They cannot keep up with other people because of their own personal problems. But the Buddha said, if you don't have a Kalyana Mitta, you will never make it to become a Sota. Why is it? Although you are self-driven, self-motivated, but when you are going to do things with others, the people you have are evil people. Maybe they are unwise people. They are pulling you out of your path. That's why the Buddha said, at least have one Kalyana Mitta who can talk about the Dhamma, who can give you a proper advice, who can tell you what is good, what is bad. I mean, not in their own way, right? According to the Dhamma, right? They might say, I don't like it, so you also should dislike it. They are personal likes and dislikes. You should have somebody who can tell you, okay, regardless of what I like or what I dislike, this is what the Dhamma says about it. Somebody can tell us the Dhamma. That is such a very $1 million advice. Huh? It's $1 million advice because we don't get such kind of advice from somebody, right? So we must have Kalyana, somebody who can really give a good advice, especially about the Dhamma, who can guide us to the light. Now, then listening to Dhamma. Third is what you call wise attention. Fourth one, very interesting. See that here, Dhammanu Dhamma Patipatti. Dhamma Dhamma Patipatti means living according to the Dhamma. Now, this is the practice. Exactly. That means you may listen to hundreds of thousands of Dhamma talks. But what if that you are not living under any of the Dhamma talks? You just live the way you want. You are not going to incorporate any Dhamma into your practice. You just live the same way how you've been living. Then Dhamma has been a knowledge to you for the last many years. That means in whatever the good possible ways, we should be able to incorporate Dhamma things into our life. Maybe you will take time, not the whole thing at the same time. Now, if you want to become a Sotapanna, you must practice, or you must have practiced this food. Otherwise, you won't be able to make your move to become a Sotapanna. Now, you might see, how about Anya Konnan, Venerable Konnan? He must have done his homework before, in a previous life. Because we believe that our spiritual journey, our life is not only one life. It has to come from different lives. But if you haven't made it to that level of attainment, that means you still need to practice. That is number one to understand here. What do you mean by becoming a Sotapanna, right? You need 4 things to learn. And we learn about why Anya Konanya on the 18th. Sotapanna. What is the link between becoming a Sotapanna and the rise of Dhammacakkapavatthana? What happens when someone attains Sotapanna? That means that person definitely owns Samadhi. From that point onwards, that person has Samadhi. So Dhammacakku has Samadhi. When someone attains Sotapanna, that person definitely has Samadhi, because it is the starting point of the Noble Eightfold Path. If you say that Sotapanna person will not live more than 8 lives, that person from there onwards going to practice the rest of the 7, and then making his or her way to Nibbana. Then, why does attaining Sotapanna have a direct link to understanding Patisamuppada? Definitely. When someone attains Sotapanna, that person always looks at everything through Patisamuppada. Let's say, today morning, I always say this example. Today morning, he was very unhappy. But now we understand, yes, my unhappiness can last, but now I'm a different person. Cause, effect, cause. He or she always bring his life moments into Patisamuppada. When someone attains a Sotapanna, that person has an enormous amount of Patisamuppada knowledge, Patisamuppada understanding in his life. That is the connection. And you can see when you are a Sotapanna, you have unshakable trust in the Buddha, unshakable trust in the Dhamma, unshakable trust in the Sangha, morality, your sila is very good, and then you have a very good knowledge of Patisamuppada, accurate understanding of the Patisamuppada. Now, what is your trust about the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha? Is your trust about I think Buddha is okay, I think you never have any issues. Dhamma also, you may keep your trust all along. But Sangha sometime, so. Your trust might, vary, fluctuate here and there. Why? Because you are not a Sotapanna. You mind everything you mind. Every single thing you mind. And you bring to your Dhamma knowledge. Why you bring it? Your Dhamma knowledge is your Dhamma knowledge. Don't bring personal events to your Dhamma knowledge. If you bring it, you are done. You have to restart. Would you like, if you want to restart a computer, you're doing a lot of good work, 5-6 hours of your computer work, would you like to restart the computer without saving? You don't like, right? You want the stuff you've been doing. In the same way, you've been practicing very well from the beginning for many years, but suddenly this one particular small event is going to make a crash on your Dhamma life. Why? You are not a Sotapanna. At least you know that I should not mess up my saddha with anybody. Whatever happens out there, in a temple, somewhere, online, internet, I'm not going to be very calm. jeopardizing my saddha. I'm not going to risk my saddha about Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. Right? So here you can see the fifth one is that you have an accurate understanding about the Parisampada when you are a Sotapan, right? Right? And you can see why Dhammacakka is not just a wheel. Dhammacakka has become a wheel in the context of understanding the Four Noble Truths along the Parivarta, three aspects, and the 12 perspective. That is why it is a Dhammacakka. And don't just call Dhammacakka is a wheel, it has spokes and so on and so forth. That is what a lot of people think. Dhammacakka has to be understood through that context only. Tiparivatta Dvadasakka. Because at that time, of the Buddha's time, Buddha also had to undergo in presenting his what he called Dhamma through certain formulas that the people had. Even the Four Noble Truths was a part of that teaching, that what you call following. It is said that there is a sickness and there is a reason to that sickness, there is a recovery and there is a treatment. Now, this was an already existing notion of the people. So Buddha had to present his noble truth according to these four. That is why he said there is noble truth on dukkha, there's noble truth on the origin of the dukkha, there's noble truth on the cessation of the truth and dukkha, and there is the path that leads to the cessation of the dukkha. Otherwise, he could have said, no, dukkha is the truth. Right? Dukkha, dukkha, dukkha. There's only one truth, that is dukkha. But Buddha could not. He had to go by the society. Similarly, this Dhammacakka. This one you can learn because of the time. This is very interesting. I think I had to share with you. But please pay some careful attention to this. You might otherwise misunderstand. Now, Dhammacakkapavatthana Sutta appears in many other versions. Sanskrit, Chinese, and many other versions. Right? So, they're supposed to have a transmission error. You can see this word, appativattiyam. And appativattiyam means it is said that the Dhammacakka cannot be done by any other Deva, Mara, whoever. But the appativattya means, pati means read, vattya means tell. Now the problem is, who is going to turn it back? If you are not capable to do it, who is going to turn this Dhammacakka wheel back? Nobody can do it. So it is said, especially now, this is the scholarship they are discussing, this could be a textual transmission error. Because in regard to the Pali text, this is what we see, but the Sanskrit, Chinese, and all the other texts that were emphasized, I would say, influenced by the Pali text, say not appativattya, they say appavattya. You can see here, appavattya means cannot be turned. Actually, it's correct because no Deva, no Mara, no Brahma, whoever, they don't need to turn it back because they cannot turn. Why they want to turn it back? Definitely, the Pali term should be here, appavattya. Now let me show the text again so you will understand. Appavattya should be the correct one, but appativattya is a textual error. Show you. Okay. You can see here. Etam bhagavata varanasiyam isipatadi migadai anuttaram dhammacakkam pavattitam appativattya. Interesting. Now, here, pati means read. Vattyam means turning. So, A means no, or maybe cannot, inability. Yeah? Now, the problem is why any Deva, Mara, Brahma is going to, why they are not able to turn it back. The idea should be they cannot simply turn. Nobody can turn it. Just because it was turned by the Buddha, other people cannot turn it. It is not turn it back. So it is said that this could be a textual transmission. It should be then. Etam Bhagavata Bharanasiyang Sipatani Migadai Anuttaran Dhammacakkapavatthana Appavattya, not Appativattu, Appavattyan Samanena Bhava. You can see it here in the text over here. A textual transmission issue. Appativatyang is what we see now, cannot be turned back. Nobody wants to turn it back. What is applying to everybody is nobody can turn it. Appavatyang. See it? I think we discussed about the cry, the Sabda Manusari. So cry means they were amazed. They were excited about the Dhammacakka. So they were excited. Because they were excited. Now, do we make some sounds when we are excited? Do we? Yes, we do, right? When we are excited, we say, what happened? Different sound. It is a similar kind of sound they made. And then the sound was heard by the next higher Deva world. And that sound was heard by the next higher Deva world. Went up to the sixth Deva world. They could not help not making a sound. The sound is powerful. And they had to know what is going on in the human world. All right, so that's about Dhammacakka. Today's topic, as you heard, is about, once again, Dhammacakka and the cry. Dhammacakka means becoming a Sotapanna. Especially, in particular, becoming a Sotapanna. When someone becomes a Sotapanna, that person is going to acquire Sammaditthi. Okay, that is Dhammacakka. That means we already have our Cakkhu, but we don't have Dhammacakka. But unless you follow those four things, having Kalyana Mittas, then listening to Dhamma, wise attention, following the Dhamma according to what the Dhamma was, how the Dhamma was given in conformity of Dhamma, then you will become a Sotapanna. And once the Buddha proclaimed, he turned the Dhamma wheel in motion, then what happened? Other non-humans, they were amazed, they were surprised, and they made a cry. And the cry went one by one. And we're going to pick up the cry from the Brahma Bonus next Monday. Any questions? Yes? That is what happened at the end. Yes? Yeah. Interesting. Now, yes, I heard the question. Okay, now here in this context, what happens is that someone is acquiring the Dhammacakka when that person clearly gets rid of Sakkaya Ditthi, Vicikiccha, Silapata Parampis. Right? Now, they are not given here, but they are implied over here. Let's say you are following the Kalyana Mittas association, listening to Dhamma, and then wise attention, and then Dhamma Patipada. When you are practicing these four, what you are doing is that you are going to overcome Sakkaya Ditthi, Vicikiccha, Silapata Parampis. So once you have come to the pinnacle, the high point of that understanding, the high level of that point of stage, there you are going to switch from Magga to Phala. I think although we are doing in our own ways, we might be not probably deep enough, strong enough to come to that point. So that includes not only the right effort, you also need some sansaric support. There are people who might think, okay, I have all the books, I know all the Dhamma, but why I am not? Maybe you are not sansarically good enough, sansarically, karma enough. Maybe you have not fulfilled some paramitas in this life. It might take some other couple lives. So if all these things are okay, If all these things are going to work very well, definitely you are going to be switching from Sotapatti Magga to Sotapatti Phala. That is the turning point. Make sense? It is not only this life where you can, maybe you are not making that move by doing whatever you can in this life, because it needs lots of sansari kusalas too. I would say paramitas, perfections. Now, in a very rough example, you know that all want to become doctors and engineers. Huh? Let's say kind of a very non-classic example, but they may study well also, but not everybody can become so, right? Let's say all want to become monks and nuns. You simply want to become a monk and nun, but does it mean that you can stay becoming a monk longer? No, you need some sansaric discipline also. Something you must have done in your past lives. Right? Past life is very important. If you don't feel you are not, then whatever you are going to do is whatever you are supposed to be in. So that is where, that is how we understand how can Sotapanna attainment come to different people. It can come to different people differently. Sometimes you may see a person who is not doing lots of Dhamma things, but that person has less Sakkaya Ditthi, Vicikiccha, Silabbata Paramas. Why is it? That person already has the practice in his own or her own way. It depends. All right. I think that's all right. And then we're going to transfer the good karmas now to the departed ones and the devas. If you have any questions, please send me a WhatsApp message. I can answer, because depending on the time, we might not be able to accommodate a lot of questions.